Africa's wildest tribes and the world's most extreme places to call home. Africa tells you something. Not with words. Not with sounds either. With silence. In the early hours of the morning, just as the sun is rising, you feel the breath of a continent that has awakened within a rhythm thousands of years old. No city, no building, no technology of the New World can produce this sound. Because this sound is the sound of millions of years of geology, thousands of years of culture, and the deepest bond humanity has ever formed with nature. Today we are stepping into that sound. Into an Africa that the news doesn't show. Into an Africa that tourist brochures can't reach. An Africa told not through Kalashnikovs, but through lip plates, young men leaping over cattle, and tattoos carved into skin. Welcome to Planet on Edge. Mursi tribe, Ethiopia. Right in the middle of the Ethiopia-Sudan border. Dry. Harsh. An unforgiving terrain. Mursi women look different to you at first glance. Large ceramic plates in their lips. This is not an ornament. This is an identity. Every girl stepping into adolescence begins with a small plate. As the years pass, the plate grows larger. And that size becomes the measure of power, maturity, and beauty in the eyes of the community. But Mursi culture is not just this. Cattle. More precious than anything. Not merely a food source, the heart of rituals, the measure of social status, the bridge connecting people to their ancestors. Every cow has a name. Every cow has a value. Young men must jump over the backs of cattle in their coming-of-age ceremonies. If you fall, you are not yet ready. If you make it, you are now part of the community. In these villages, homes are made of clay, wood, and leaves. Simple. Yet inside every home is a harmony between human and nature that has endured for thousands of years. What Mursi taught, surviving in the harshest lands is not about winning great victories, it is about fighting quietly, every single day. Nyangatom tribe, Ethiopia. Close to the Sudanese border. A region where nature has still not changed, where humans still surrender to nature. The homes of the Nyangatom look temporary. Built from earth and grass. As if a breeze could blow them away. But those homes don't go anywhere. Because what holds them up is not the walls. It is the people inside. The spirit of community here is not a word. It is a living reality every day. Ceremonies are performed not just to pray to the gods, but also to come together, to pass on knowledge, to keep one another standing. Drought arrives. Water diminishes. The earth hardens. And the Nyangatom continue. Because the most important thing they have learned is this: you must not fight against nature, you must dance with it. Hamar tribe, Ethiopia. In the barren lands of the Omo Valley. When I first saw the Hamar women, I paused. Their skin was covered in red clay. This is not paint. This is a language. A silent language that honors the ancestors, connects people to nature, and tells the community, I am here. Metal necklaces. Brightly colored traditional garments. Every piece carries its own meaning. It represents the family. It speaks of social status. But the most powerful moment in Hamar culture is the cattle jumping ceremony. A young man is about to step into adulthood. The community gathers. The cattle are lined up side by side. And the young man must run and pass across the backs of those cattle. Not merely a physical test. This is a public declaration of courage, worth, and respect for nature. Water is scarce. Food is scarce. Yet in that ceremony, no one's eyes hold poverty. Only power. Turkana tribe, Kenya. In the desert of northern Kenya. At the crossroads of the Ethiopian and Ugandan borders. The Turkana are not settled. They move. Wherever the water sources are, that is where they go. When the season changes, they take down their shelters and rebuild them elsewhere. Homes made from straw, dry grass, and animal hides. Light. Portable. And a perfect refuge for those who live inside. Water here is the most precious thing. Strictly protected. Shared. And wherever water is found, there is celebration, Thanksgiving ceremonies, ancestral memorial rituals, traditional games. What Turkana showed me, being nomadic does not mean being rootless. It means learning to find your place everywhere. Karo tribe, Ethiopia. On the banks of the Omo River. A place civilization has not yet reached. A life shaped by the flow of the river, the dry earth, and conditions where only the most resilient can survive. When you look at the faces and bodies of the Karo people, you see art. Patterns drawn with clay and natural materials. Every line is a story. Every design is the proof of a rite of passage. These markings are not aesthetic. They are spiritual. Each one is the permanent trace of the moment that person told their community, I am ready. Livestock. Hunting. Walking kilometers every day. And yet, at every festival, painting competitions, wrestling matches, traditional games. From the oldest to the youngest, everyone takes part. Because in Karo, life is not just about surviving. It is about existing together. Pocket tribe, Kenya. Near the Ugandan border. Highlands with a cool climate but rare rainfall. The Pocket are nomadic. Cattle and goats are their everything. Not just food, social value, social status, the symbol of wealth and power. When a Pocket steps into adulthood, a cow is gifted to them. This is not merely a gift. This is the community saying, now we stand on equal footing with you. Pocket women walk dozens of kilometers every day. Carrying water for their families and animals. This is not just their daily chore. It is the bridge they build with other tribes, the moment they share. Rituals are performed with the changing of the seasons. Prayers to the gods. Wishes for abundance. And beneath all of it, the same force, solidarity. Zulu tribe, South Africa. Southeastern Africa. The shores of the Indian Ocean. One of Africa's largest and most renowned tribes. The Zulu are known for their music, dance, and ceremonies. The Ukosi Wakwashwama festival, the harvest celebration, is the moment gratitude to ancestors and to nature is declared through sound, body, and spirit. Traditional dancers. Powerful drumbeats. Ancestral songs. This is not merely entertainment. This is the oral library of Zulu history. Every movement tells a story. Every sound carries a lesson to the next generation. The Zulu community has a strong structure. Leaders, chiefs, maintain order and make important decisions. Family, respect for parents, devotion to ancestors, these are the foundation of the Zulu. And that foundation is reinforced once more after every battle, every difficult period, every ceremony. Samburu tribe, Kenya. In the arid lands of northeastern Kenya. Nomadic. living from livestock. But this is not their most striking feature. The most powerful quality of the Samburu is their unity. Water is scarce. The land is barren. Conditions are harsh. But the Samburu people are together. They support one another. They come together at ceremonies, dancing, singing, playing traditional games. Harvest festivals are their most important rituals. On these days, family bonds are strengthened. Experiences of survival are shared. And the most valuable thing is passed on to the next generation: how to live in harmony with nature. Dogon villages, Mali. There was a flat terrain. The Dogon did not choose it. They chose the Bandiagara cliffs. Vertical. Steep. Nearly impossible to climb. Why? Because enemies come from below. And those below are always at a disadvantage. Homes and grain stores are built entirely from local materials. So perfectly harmonized with the cliffs that you cannot tell which is nature and which is human-made. No elevators. No asphalt. Going up every day, coming down every day, this is not exercise. It is life itself. Mijingo Island, Uganda. 2,000 square meters. 2/3 of a football pitch. And on it, hundreds of people. Right in the middle of Lake Victoria. Africa's largest freshwater lake. During storm season, the waves sweep everything away. Armed groups constantly target it. In 2010, Kenya and Uganda experienced a diplomatic crisis over this tiny rock, because it generates thousands of dollars in fish taxes each year. So why do people stay here? Nile perch. A massive income. Sometimes danger lives in the most productive places. Makoko, Nigeria. At the edge of Africa's largest megacity. On water. Between 100,000 and 250,000 people. Homes built on a filthy lagoon. The floor sits just 90 centimeters to 1.8 meters above the water's surface. No roads. No cars. Everything by boat. No sewage system. No urban planning. Yet for decades, this water city has been living, growing, breathing. Human adaptability redefines its limits here. Santa Cruz del Islote, Colombia. An island the size of 2 football pitches. Holding 1,200 people. A garden is a luxury. A pavement is a luxury. Homes extend to the water's edge, with almost no space between them. A major storm. Rising sea levels. And this island becomes a fragile life raft in the middle of the ocean. But people are here. Because this is their home. And home does not have to be safe. It only has to be yours. Kawah Ijen Villages, Indonesia. Right beside one of the world's largest acid lakes. When the wind shifts, sulfuric toxic fumes engulf the entire village. Breathing becomes a real struggle. The acid and sulfur in the air corrode everything. Wear it down. Dissolve it. And every evening, miners walk through the doors of those homes, carrying dozens of kilograms of sulfur on their shoulders. Home is both their only refuge and a constant reminder of how fragile their lives are. Gonvai, Benin. Founded 300 years ago. Slave hunters could not enter the water. So this community moved onto the water. Today 20,000 people live here. No roads, only narrow boat lanes. Everything happens on the water. The Venice of Africa. But it was born from a necessity far older, and far more real, than Venice. Haid El Jazil, Yemen. Built not on the ground, but on the top of a 150-meter rock mass. From a distance, it looks like a forgotten stone crown in the middle of the desert. When you stand at the edge of those homes, there is no modern railing. Only the mountain wind and the panorama of a deep valley far below. Living here requires making peace with the cliff every single day. Fugdal Monastery, India. More than 800 years here. A massive honeycomb structure of mud and wood, clinging to the mouth of a cave carved into a limestone rock face. The only way to reach it is on foot. Swaying rope bridges. Paths clinging to the edge of the rock. The white mud brick walls look fragile from a distance. But they have been here for 800 years. Some things stand by an invisible strength. Castellfollit de la Roca, Spain. The houses are not built on the edge of the rock, they seem like part of the rock itself. On a basalt cliff roughly 1 kilometer long and 50 meters high. This cliff was formed thousands of years ago when two volcanic lava flows collided. You stand between the quiet beauty of ancient brickwork and the raw threat of nature. And you feel small. But at the same time, proud. Bajo Sea Villages, Malaysia. Sea nomads. The community is built entirely on wooden stilts driven into the sea floor. Families live 3 to 9 meters above the water. Between 60 and 70% of the Bajo people spend their lives at sea or above it. Some can dive to 90 meters on a single breath and stay underwater for 3 to 5 minutes, without equipment. Some villages are born, live, and die without ever owning dry land. Uro's Floating Islands, Peru. Beneath your feet, not ground, but layers of compressed, dried tatora reeds. Above hundreds of meters of depth in Lake Titicaca. If a strong wind blows, your entire bedroom could drift to the Bolivian border overnight. The lake's water constantly erodes the reeds below. To survive, you keep adding new layers of reed. You race against time before the floor disappears beneath you. Korowai Tribe Tree Houses, Indonesia. 25 to 35 meters above the ground. In the depths of the Papua rainforest. No contact with the modern world until the 1970s. Only hunting, sago gathering, and the forest. Every day they climb using notches carved into vertical tree trunks, with only their hands and feet. Would you want to live in one of these houses? La Rinconada, Peru. 5,100 meters. The highest permanent human settlement on Earth. With your first step, it is not the cold you feel, it is the sensation of suffocation. Oxygen levels are half those at sea level. In a cold tin-roofed room, every breath feels like drawing air through a thin straw. You are not just sitting in a house. You are fighting to keep your lungs working. Now stop. Everything you saw in this video continues to exist at this very moment. Some of it thousands of years old. Some of it still inhabited. Some in the midst of war. Some in places the modern world has never reached. There is only one thing they all have in common. People are there. Not because they are afraid. And not merely because they have to be. Because that place is theirs. And this simple, stubborn, silent belonging, is humanity's greatest strength. Which of these people moved you the most? The lip plates of the Mursi women, the Hamar cattle jumping ceremony, or Ganvai, which survived by moving onto the water? Write in the comments. I genuinely want to know. Planet on Edge. We tell you what the world forgot to.